Good morning, Miss E.
Good morning, class. I'm Miss Ian. Today I will be sharing with you guys one incident happened in my school. In my physical class, it's my habit to always have a few different markers when I write something on the board. So in the beginning of the class, I will normally take out a few markers from my pencil case and I put on the table. So after that, I will just take one of the marker and start writing something on the board. So after writing a while, when it comes to a step that I need to use other markers, so I will just get it from the table. And then there is one time when I try to find this marker on my table, I found one of the marker is missing. So then I started to search, around my table, and I try to check inside my pencil case to see if the marker is still left in the pencil case. It's not taken out yet, but it's not there. And then I search all over the place. And then there are these few students who sit in the front row, found this scene very amusing. They really enjoy watching me searching all over the place. Then I realized that there's something fishy going on. I suspect that one of them has taken my marker and hid it. So I started to interrogate them. So here's the conversation. So there are 4 students, student A, B, C, and D. So I will just name them as A, B, C, D. And student A say, hey, I didn't do it. Student B say, A did it. Student C say, come on, I just came in. And student D say, B did it. So, and then these 4 students also let me know that only one of them told the truth. So do you guys know who was the culprit? Who was the one who took my marker? So guys, in order to solve this puzzle, so first of course, you have to use logic to analyze these conversations, of course. But if you think it's very hard to figure this out in your head, what you can do is you can construct a diagram and maybe make some assumptions and study these conversations again. First of all, I will assume that student A was the one who took my marker, and then I study these conversations. So maybe, okay, I put down something like this, culprit. Okay, let's say A was the one who took my marker. And then we try to study these conversations. Okay, now we assume that A was the one who took my marker. And student A say, hey, I didn't do it. But A was actually the one who took my marker, but he said he didn't do it, which means he was telling lie. So in that case, I will put a cross here to show that student A was lying. And then student B say, A did it. And our assumption is A was really the one who took my marker, and student B say A did it, which means student B was telling the truth. So in that case, I will put a tick that show B told the truth. And then student C say, come on, I just came in. So based on this statement, student C is trying to deny that he was the one who took my marker. So in fact, it's not him. A was the one who took my marker. So student C say, come on, I just came in. So which means he was telling truth. And then student D say, B did it. And it was actually A, but not B. But D accused B of taking my marker. So actually D was lying. So I will just put a cross here. So by making these assumptions, we can see that there are 2 students were telling truth because there are 2 take, and another 2 students were telling lie. But in fact, these 4 students, they told me only one of them told the truth, which means this assumption is not valid. So in that case, I will need to make another assumption, like for example, B. B was the culprit who took my marker. So next, I'm going to put B here. So now our assumption is B was the one, and we try to study this conversation again. If B was the one who took my marker and student A say, hey, I didn't do it, which means he was telling the truth because it was not A, it was B who took my marker, and he said he didn't do it. So A told the truth. And student B say A did it. But now our assumption is B was the one who took my marker. But then B said A did it, which means this student told lie because it was actually him, but he blamed A taking my marker. So B was telling lie. And then student C, come on, I just came in. And student C told the truth because he was not the one. It was actually B who took my marker. So he said he just came in. So he told the truth. And then student D said B did it. So now our assumption is B was the one who took my marker. And student D said B did it, which means student D was telling the truth. So in these assumptions, we can see that there are 3 students told the truth, and there are 1 student B was lying. But in fact, there's only 1 suspect told the truth, not 3. So again, this assumption is invalid. Then we make another assumption where C was the one who took my marker. If C was the one and student A say, hey, I didn't do it, which means A is really not A who took my marker, it was C. So A told the truth. So I'll just put a tick here. A wasn't the one. C was the one who took my marker. So, and then student B say A did it. But now our assumption is C was the one who took my marker. But then student B say A took my marker. Student B accused A of taking my marker. So student B was lying because it was not A. So I just put a cross. Student B was lying. It was actually C who took my marker. And then student C, come on, I just came in. But it was actually him who took my marker. And then he said that, come on, I just came in. Which means he's trying to deny that he was the one who took my marker. So which means he was lying. So I put a cross here. And then student D said, B did it. But it was actually C who took my marker. And then he accused B of taking my marker. Maybe he doesn't like student B. That's why he accused B of taking my marker. So student D was lying. So by looking at these assumptions, we can see that there are 3 crosses, which means there are 3 students. There are 3 students were lying, and then there one student A, was telling the truth. And in fact, there's really one of them only one of them told the truth, which means this assumption is valid. Student C was the one who took my marker. Okay, in order to verify that C was really the one who took my marker, what we can do is maybe we can make another assumption where D was the one who took my marker. So if D was the one and A say, hey, I didn't do it, which means A was telling the truth. He was not the one. D was the one who took my marker. So I just put a tick here. And B say, A did it, but it was not A. It was actually D who took my marker. So student B was lying. So I put a cross. And student C say, come on, I just came in. So he is trying to say that he is not the one who took my marker, but it's actually D. So he told the truth. So I put a tick here. And student D say B did it, but it was actually D who took my marker. Our assumption now is D who took my marker. D was the one. And student D say B did it. So he's trying to blame others of taking my marker. So he was lying. So in these assumptions, where we assume D was the one who took my marker, there are 2 students telling the truth, and there are 2 students were lying. So these assumptions is again not valid because of these 4 students, there's only one of them told the truth. So by constructing a diagram like this, by analyzing the question like this, by making assumptions, so in the end, I found that the culprit was actually C. C was the one who took my marker. So I will just put down. So student C was the one. And the other day, I also come across the Math Olympiad questions, which is very similar to these situations. Let me share with you guys. Okay, in this question, it says that there are 4 athletes run in a 100-meter race and make the following statements. Andy say, I'm the fastest. Brian say, I'm the slowest. Calvin say, I'm neither the slowest nor the fastest. And Danny say, I'm not the fastest. So if exactly 3 of them are telling the truth, who is the slowest? So these questions actually very similar to the story I shared with you guys earlier. What you can do is we can again construct a diagram to make assumptions like, let's say the first assumptions, we assume that Andy is the slowest, and then we try to study these conversations again to see whether that assumption is valid or not. If it's not valid, then we move on to the second assumptions where Brian is the slowest and study these conversations again. So this is the idea of solving this puzzle. So I hope you guys can try to solve this puzzle yourself, and I will be showing the solution in the next video. So guys, if you like the content that I share today, I hope you guys can subscribe my channel so that you guys will be notified when there is a new video release. Thanks for watching. See you next time.